So, Merhaba again. I just sort of put the first video together and realized in watching it that I got a little carried away in the beginning with the explanations, and I left out a bunch of other phrases that I wanted to say in Turkish because they're very common. So I'm going to do that now. Really important stuff. So we said hello is merhaba. But goodbye is interesting because goodbye, there are two different ways to say it. Actually, there are several more ways to say it, but there are two main ways. If you are the person who is staying somewhere and another person is leaving, when that person leaves, you say to them, güle güle, güle güle. If you're the person leaving, you say to the person staying, you say, what's the word? Hoşça kal, of course. Hoşça kal. But more common than that among students and younger people is görüşürüz, which means it's more like see you later. And you can say that whenever. Görüşürüz. So thank you is also interesting. There are three main ways that it's said. The most formal is teşekkür ederim. That's two words. Teşekkür ederim. Teşekkür is thanks, and ederim is a verb, which means to do. Or to make. So like it's literally like I make thanks to you, but that's most common. You say that to people that you don't know. If you're just out and about, that's what you use. If it's a little less formal, maybe you know the person a little bit, or it's more of a friend relationship, you say teşekkürler, but not close friends. With close friends, you use the simple word sağ. So that's S-A-G-O-L, and the G is a soft G. It's called a yumuşak G in Turkish. It has the little wavy thing above it. I don't know the technical term for that punctuation, but that when you have a G like that, it basically makes that G silent and extends the length of the vowel preceding it. So S-A-G-O-L, it's not sagol, it's sol. Just a long A, and an O-L, sol. And that's very common. So close friends, you say it all the time. If you want to say thank you very much, you can add the word choke, which is C with a tail, OK, in front of any of those three expressions, and it becomes thank you very much. Choke means very, so çok teşekkür ederim, çok sağ, çok teşekkürler. All very common. You're welcome, just like thank you is teşekkür ederim, you're welcome is rica ederim. So it's the same sort of construction. A less formal way to say you're welcome is bir şey değil, which means basically it's not a problem. It's similar to saying like de rien or de nada in French and Spanish. Bon appetit. You hear that it is expressed by saying afiyet olsun. You hear that a lot in restaurants. Afiyet olsun. Let's see. Please is lütfen. Another very common word that's important. Let's see. I'm trying to think of just interesting expressions. If you want to say like, I'm trying to think of the equivalent in English. If you want to say in English, a lot of people say, "Oh, God willing," or "Well, if we're lucky," something like that. You say inshallah, inshallah, which means Allah is Turkish for God. Actually, it's sort of lifted from the Arabic. Allah obviously is God, and inshallah means basically God willing. So you hear that all the time. So people will say, "Did you do well on your exam?" Ah, inshallah. Very common. And so those are just some additional things that I think are important to know and fun to know. And it's also amazing. I will say it's amazing how quickly you can begin to use a language practically. I didn't think I would learn as much Turkish as I have in 4 months, but I also really didn't think that I would be using it. I thought, well, maybe I would learn how to conjugate a verb, in a very academic sense. But I've been using Turkish and somewhat successfully. I certainly can't have like a full-blown conversation, but I can buy stuff. I can understand numbers. So when people tell me how much I have to pay them, I can understand that. I can haggle with taxi drivers. I can haggle for anything, really. Haggling is very common here, as a side note, for almost everything. I can really get by quite easily with Turkish, and so it's it's nice. And the other nice thing, which I believe I mentioned in one of my posts about Paris, is that Turks are usually very, very impressed and quite honestly thrilled if they hear a United States citizen or a Western European attempting to speak Turkish. Even if I butcher it most of the time, probably. Usually very welcoming, and sort of they sometimes laugh in a friendly way, and they're very encouraging, and they'll speak Turkish right back to you. So it's really it's quite easy and fun to try to use Turkish because there's no intimidation. It's not as if there's this attitude where Turks are sort of saying, "Well, how dare you try to speak my language?" No, no, no. They're happy to have people speaking it, which is refreshing. But yes, I'm about to wrap this up. I'm just trying to think if there's anything else that I missed, because I'd rather not have to make a third video. But I think those are the basics. So, good day, iyi günler, and I will talk to you later.